here are some samples of some of the stuff that I've done and some of the sketches. And let's take a look at it. So let's start with architectural. So here's a collage. Here's a collage. Before I started designing this building, I knew that the project I was going after, I wanted it to be very people friendly. I wanted it to have a sense of community. I wanted it to have people interact with each other, young, old, white, black, everybody. So this is how it started. This was actually the building sort of cut in half, and these areas within here have these sort of floating sidewalks in which I envisioned the occupants interacting, and then there's these sort of common spaces around here where people can interact. So it started out with a collage and turned into something physical here. Another example, sometimes we start out with photographs. This is a photograph of an area on the Niagara Escarpment where I was designing a winery. So I took some photos of the site. I also did some sketches of the site. Let the ideas go, start drawing, and boom, came up with a model. I know it's a little hard to see with the lights on, but this is the structure up here. These are the sort of the wine vineyard here. There's another shot of it over here. And when I designed this, there's an idea about the building sort of coming up from out of the ground. Metaphorically, it's sort of reminding you of the seed in the ground, with the stem, and then the grape. You know, so I have these different metaphors that were tied into it as well. Sometimes we use plasticine, right? Plasticine was a tool that I used to model very quickly, which then led to some sketches, diagrams, testing, okay? Which then led to a mock-up model, something we could get our hands into, understand the way people could circulate and work the site. And then, boom, 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 something a little more final. So this was actually a project. This was my first take at these sound spaces I was trying to create. Okay, so sometimes we just use cardboard. This was a project I did in Nice, France. This is the port. And you can see the cardboard, you know, it doesn't look all that great, right? It's just materials, whatever you need to use to help you work quickly. This is what I would call a sketch model. Okay, here's another image. Here's another one. I don't know if I'm standing in the way here, you guys, right? Put it all together, and we have this. Okay? What else do we have here? So here we have another sketch, and sometimes these sketches can help you in creating, maybe it's a digital model, right? It's not always a physical model. The other thing I want to point out too is that when I was in my first year of university, I always thought that my sketches had to look really cool and like have all the shading and look, you know, that's not necessarily what it's about. It's about getting your idea down. Sometimes it's on a napkin, sometimes it happens very quickly. But you can see how these simple sketches can turn into something quite magnificent. Okay, so this one, no sketches available. The reason for this is, this was one of those things I was telling you about. Sometimes the sketches happen in your mind. And I was in IKEA, right? And I was looking for a picture frame, and then I walked past this shoe rack. And then this like little wooden shoe rack, and then boom, this idea hit me. And I didn't even have a pen, I didn't have anything, I just stood there for like 10 minutes holding these shoe racks, just looking at it and thinking. Everybody thought I was like crazy and stuff, right? This is what we came up with. Little shelving unit, you know, went to the as-is section, got some shelves, cut it up, put it on, you know, hang little things. And then, you know, me and my girlfriend were thinking like, how can we utilize the space above the couch, right? So sometimes the sketches just happen internally. Graphic design. So this one here is a little hard to see, but I actually produced, my father's a musician, he plays the keyboard, piano. I produced a dinner music CD for him, and I basically, what you're looking at, this is the front cover of the CD jacket, and this is the jewel case, the backing, right? That's my father, and that's the back. That's the backing of the CD. You guys are trying to see what I'm going after here. The design principles is usually the same. You're sketching, you're putting your ideas out, and you're making it happen. So sometimes I design flyers for different events, posters, and oftentimes this is what will come to me from the client. You know, the poster will be 8.5 by 11 version of the front side, blah, 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 blah. Take it, put those words into action. There's one of the flyers that I did. Okay? So that's another form of a sketch. The notes. Musical production. Okay. So what you're looking at here, this is the original sketch when I had the meeting with the guy from CBC and he was telling me what it is that he wanted. I was just taking notes, drawing, and I asked him to bring in samples of CDs of songs that he liked. And he played the songs for me and I began to sketch and write down certain common threads between the songs. And I went home and I created it. He wanted the sounds to reflect Toronto. He wanted it to be diverse, multicultural, exciting, hip. I took out all these notes and took it to my studio. Okay? Took it to my little studio, started working it out, and we created the piece, which I could play for you guys if you want a little sample. Yes? Okay, so we have the sounds of Toronto. We heard the TTC subway doors opening. Now you're hearing the sounds of Yonge Street, right? Okay. So the process is always the same. Creating music, in that case, I sketched it down on a piece of paper. There's another way that I like to work. Remember earlier I was talking about the audio recordings? You know, sometimes taking that little cassette recorder and getting your ideas down quickly and then going and making it. Well, I call those like an audio sketch, okay? So can I play you guys a little sample of the audio sketch? This is the original. Okay, so a lot of times, believe it or not, these sketches, they come to me in the shower. I don't know why that is, but most of my production comes to me in the I don't know what it is. If it's a comfort thing, and maybe I just sound better, I don't know. And when the idea hits me, I can't stop because I'll lose it. So like, you know, for the whole shower, I'm come out the shower, record it, and then here's the finished product. So, you get the idea, right? So, performance now. Let's move on to performance. You don't think that artists, when they're on stage and they're performing, you don't think that their shows are planned out or, well, you think it's planned, but designed. And this is one of the original notes, sketches for one of my shows at the Yonge Street Music Festival back in 2000, I believe it was, 2000, 2001. This was the original sketch. Get the ideas down quickly, take the notes. This is, sometimes I like to work in Word, take these notes. Remember, I consider all these sketches, this for me, oops, this for me, all this stuff is the same as this. It's just a different medium, okay? So, this is, have you guys heard of the artist Mos Def? He's a hip hop artist and actor, and I opened up for him this past June, in Utah, Salt Lake City. And this, what you're looking at, is the original show outline, which leads to you doing your thing on stage, right? But my point is, you see artists performing, you don't often think that there's a design behind it. There's also, and I don't have any samples of the sketch, but my manager, he often asks for a stage plot, which shows you an aerial view, bird's eye view of where the speakers are, where the monitors are, where the band is, keyboard, DJ, all these other things that are important because you don't want to be in front of the speakers, get too close, feedback, things could ruin your show. So things are planned out, things are designed.